One more thing. Abaddon, sheep slaughter. COVID. C. 7-story building being destroyed by a tidal wave. William Penn building is 7 stories high. Roughly like right there, there's a ledge. Then it's higher, the William Penn building. The tower, the statue, 37 feet, 73. PetGoat 2 video, the apple being rolled out by the girl, the woman, the spirit, rolling over to Obama like, here, take this. It rolls, it hits 7, C, which is 3, 37 backwards. Abaddon, who is the sheep that they plan on slaughtering. Abaddon, sheep slaughter. COVID, 7 stories, 3. C and 7 is right there by Obama's foot. Once that hits, sweat coming down, or whatever, nervousness in his face, like his eyes are like this. Oh shit. Obama's nation rising. Abomination. The number C is 3. G, CG, C3, and then G, global. Bros made the video. I remember Kleck talking about the artwork, like, yeah, really great job. I thought he was like doing that thing where you bust on yourself. No, I think he was talking about his brother's artwork on that production. So that C equals 3, and the 7 is there. It's also for the 7th month. In July, all this is happening. But it's also for the tower that's 73, that's 37 feet backwards. And when you look at that bell that's behind the William Penn Tower, like that tower falls and hits the bell and rings it, because you see the reflection in the WaterFront gourmet hotel, or down at the bottom. You see the reflection of the 7-story building that's going to be wiped out with a tidal wave. It's just a wave of energy. As soon as these events happen, that wave of energy is taken over. But there's a 3.5-day party. And then because the people that are partying don't realize that it's after 3.5 days, you know, Peter denied Christ 3 times. 3 times. So when you're waiting there like, where the frick is Peter? It's 5:55, I don't see Peter anywhere. And then somebody else comes and grabs you, like the army, that's fine. 3 days, 3.5 days. And then after 3 days and a half. It's so crazy how this thing works, because Christ is born of a Virgin Mary just by the Spirit alone. And then that Spirit that's born becomes Mary's father. But Mary's not even a woman. It's like the Spirit, how this thing is tied in. It's like nothing is created, and then here comes the events, and then here they, all right, it's time to create a beast. But now it's time for a new animal, because the person in charge is now has the beast, the heart of a beast, which makes him a new animal. But Mary birthed Christ, and then Christ became Mary's father. And then it's a recycling of life. It's just never ending. That's why like Isaiah and Mary and like these characters all tie into being the same person, just the same spirit, just a different different times and different experiences. Just like Daniel and Christ, both being in where there's a wheel, a big rock, and you got to roll it out, laid in a tomb, laid in a lion's den. Neither one of them died, but according to your interpretation, why did Christ die and Daniel didn't? But he had the same exact spirit. How come Joseph, he was in jail for 2 days, well, 2 years, a day is a year, but he didn't die either, and then he became second in charge afterwards. It's like the same thing with Christ, because Pilate and why is it that Pilate and Herod became best buddies after Christ met both of them? Because they had to be raised from the dead. See, Christ was raised from the dead. Not that he died. When he started, he was raised from the dead. When the very beginning of his ministry, he was already raised from the dead. That's why Peter said in the books of Peter, like, Lord, you're going to die again? Because your interpretation and your judgment call will get you offended. Any words I say to you about the things that I think are true, again, I don't have any real proof. I'm just going by my heart. But if you get offended by it, that means you don't have an open mind, and you're sticking with your judgment call, and it bothers you. Stop judging yourself, but you got to stop judging other people first. So that's C3. It's all related. Oh, and where that bell is, at the William Penn Tower, right behind it, when it falls and hits it, it has that Seattle thing going on up there, that little thing that looks like Seattle. And Seattle is where Chaz is at. It's the birth within inside of a birth, the non-prejudiced birth. Yeah, it is taking over. Front, stage, and center.